Pacific on rise, drifting with the tide, like lovers swaying to some old-fashioned tune, changing like the shore. My heart wants to explore. Thought I'd seen it all before, until I met you. Only now I know where I want to go. Only now I know where I want to go. Distant as the fading light, so far away but still so close. Only now I know where I want to go. Only now I know where I want to go. Well, we almost missed each other. I'm so glad you caught my eye. We were both in deeper waters, running free was on our minds. I left to find the answers, or did I leave it all for you? For the beauty of Moana, underneath the liquid moon. Oh, what a night! Oh, what a scene! Watching you drift away with me. Oh, what a night! Oh, what a scene! Watching you drift away with me. Only now I know where I want to go.
Are we live? Is us? Kia ora koutou. Koutou mā. Mahara mai. To our show. Hey, bro. Hey, Dad.
Hey, bro.
Father. Can you hear us, Father?
Oh, hang on. Maybe he can't hear us. Can you not hear us? Hey, 3. Oh, you should be able to hear us.
Can I turn his headphones off? That red light's on.
Check, check. Dad, can you hear us? No, you might have to check him.
Okay, go on. Can you hear the music?
No, I don't hear anything. Nothing coming out.
Take your head.
Yeah.
Oh. Can you hear me, Dad?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Geez, you know, you
Can
think
hear
we'd
us
be
now?
doing pre-broadcast checks. We have this sorted by now. Oh, that's hilarious. Can you hear us, Dad?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're on here now.
Cool. We're there. Okay, I'm just going to check the levels out there on the screen. Play four.
Tonight.
Echo would have been from me. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
How you doing, bro?
Oh, fuck, it's hot.
Loving the mullet.
Oh, yeah, John. Cheers.
Is that?
Yep. I'm liking Dad's new hat and that man, every time I tell you, if I go away for a week, he's done some massive piece of work. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't doing that last week? I think he started last week.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know. He has a habit of. Dad, did you paint over that one, or were you doing that last week?
No, he was doing that last week.
Yeah, I was in there.
It shifted, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all. It's been a bit prolific.
Yeah. It must be hot down there. You got your shirt off, Dad.
Oh, yeah, no. There's the lights, I think.
All the lights. All
Right.
the lights. We got aircon going too. And it's still hot.
Still hot.
Who we got out there? Rihi. And
Oh yeah, Tame Iti, kia ora rihi.
Lindley and John. Brother John.
Kia ora, brother John. John Murphy. Got a car for us, Bo. We just got, literally, we just got, this is the WAF for, can you see that? Oh, it's a bit white, a bit bright now. Let me turn this light down a little, that might help. And that's for the truck, for Dad's truck, and that's the list of things to be done.
Oh, shit.
You know, when you always get to that stage of a car's life where you go, are you really going to throw another $3,000-$4,000 into this vehicle, or is it just time to kind of, hock it off for $500 and move on with your life?
Time to move along.
I think Dad still wants to throw $3,000 or $4,000 into it. It's a Mitsubishi from 1987. You still want the truck, Dad?
All right.
Yeah, I like that truck.
He likes the truck.
Nice and solid. Well, we'll think about it.
loving this this headphone microphone setup though. There's a new
yeah?
microphone in town, but I can actually hear myself now. It's
You sound
amazing.
better. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
actually being able to hear. I sort of felt like, I didn't feel like you. When Dad didn't have his hearing aids for a while, and he became increasingly isolated because of that, I kind of have a little bit more empathy and understanding of that.
Oh yeah.
It sucks when you can't hear.
We got there. Kia ora, Lisa. Tashi George in the house. Hi, Tashi George, out on Twitch.
Hey, Tashi George.
I think I've given her.
Oh, she's got the sword.
Yeah, I think I've given her mod over there on Twitch.
Nice headphones, Tashi George. I know. Thank you. They're Tashi's headphones.
We've got Micah. Oh, and Sue George as well. Look at that. It's a family affair.
Micah.
What's been going on, Dad?
Oh, I went over to the Christmas party down at the Tame Iti park today, and come to get together, and it was just a response to what's happening with the TUT.
Yeah, well, because they had their AGM today too, didn't they?
Yeah, and but they also had the annual plan report today on Zoom for Te Uru Tamatua.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it with the?
It's
the sausages?
interesting, and I'm more inclined to look at another way of dealing with the conflict internally with Iwi, rather than pointing the finger at somebody. It's a big task, you know what I mean? It's a different situation, different generation, from the days that it's not something new from ourselves in Tūhoe, and there's always will have those different opinions. Whether it was that there was a conflict between Tūhoe back in the days with these tuakana, but here we are today, 2022, and we at another level again, and really trying to maintain power internally within an organisation. And I guess that the only thing that Tāne Atua, the office, are able to do the things they're doing there because they have control of the money. If you take the money away and put it somewhere and see how that can happen.
But that's also a criticism. I saw something. That's the criticism of Pakima, that they just want the money. They want control of the money. Is it all about just control of the bank account?
Yeah. So it's an ideological one. So it's really to do, in our days, back in the 80s and the 90s, we set up a little wee organisation called the Manamuchaki of Tūhoe, and it was totally motivated by an idea, a concept, and we are able to fund ourselves through selling T-shirts or just, and so we are driven by our political passions, and so I'm kind of two-minded about this. So rather than attacking individual people within our own power structure, that's been set up. We participate in the game of chess, and we participate in the process of the Waitangi Tribunal. And but I thought I just put out my whakaaro there today. Maybe we need to have a look at this and let's go and join the drawing board. But I did say that what we're doing here is what we're doing, creating work, creating a space. I mean, no matter what people say, they cannot take away your haputanga, your tuhoetanga, your waikato-tanga, because that you didn't participate in the game of of politics that we have today, of iwi politics. So we're just about at the end of 2021, and so what is ahead of us, and so more important that we and I think people need to go back to the drawing board and revisit that, and maybe they need to look at colours, and maybe in the colour blue. Maybe in the color red, what do that look like? What do the picture look like? And partly that's really what I'm trying to put together as part of the art that I'm trying to create, to provoke a conversation. And there's here you have two types of elements. So the conflict internally of the nehe nehera, so when you look at this piece of work, this is where we are now. So you can see the buildings; they are part of the new monument. So you got a huge infrastructure of the monument of capitalism. Everything there is not really designed. If it's just imagine we shift the population in the big city and fill in all these big monuments, and ASB Bank, all of those, there's huge amount of buildings there. Because I noticed that in the last time I was in Wellington and Auckland, some of these places are empty. In fact, nobody, most of the people are actually, the bureaucrats are working from home. So there's a big shift. And so maybe, this is where it was, I te nehe nehera, and this is where we are at this stage. And so you can see the shift of the movement of people kind of stuck in a little wee corner, suburbans, and that's what I'm really trying to create, this particular work.
So that's a dual citizenship right there. I think you got criticised for saying we're dual citizens.
Today, was there a bit of blowback on that comment?
Yeah. I mean, we've got to find a way forward without gaslighting, without like unhealthy, toxic kind of. I think end of the day, I think we've been born, when I think about where we've been born into a Western democratic liberal democracy with this whakapapa. You and me are hybrids, potentially Northern Data is, but we've got a place. We are Tūhoe. I think that's ultimately there's that identity sort of conversation that needs to happen, as well as a constitutional conversation. I think I've been telling my colleagues at the council that they were making the assumption that Māoris are into democracy. I don't think we are, potentially.
But is that what Dad was talking about today? Was that dual citizenship?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, down the bottom there, you got the nehe nehera at the top, where we were, and then you've got the ao huri, the modern world down the bottom, and all of that structure and infrastructure right there. Well, it's infrastructure. It's buildings, it's bloody ownership of land and property. Speaking of property, apparently, property prices in Auckland went up 100k since Delta struck. It's crazy. It's nuts. That's why I quite like, actually, this artistic approach, because I don't know whether there's any real answers. Hey, got Aaron. Aaron might have some answers for us. You got some answers, eh, Aaron? Aaron for Prime Minister. Kia ora Morris, kia ora Dai. I sent out a message to the bro Nandor to see if he could make an appearance. Oh, kia ora, Auntie Karina. And he's a great guy to talk to about this stuff as a Rastafarian, so he's got a very spiritual backdrop to his approach as somebody who sat in the House of Parliament, as a member of Parliament, as a Rastafarian.
I'll tell you who else who's got a very amazing corridor is his missus.
Oh, Nahuia, yeah.
Nahuia. Yeah, man, she's the bomb.
Great. Yes. What a dynamic duo. So either or either. Maybe I'll send her a message. She might be.
In her message, man. I'd love to. She's, I had the pleasure of taking the Hui Order conference, the online conference this year, and then she was one of the speakers. And yeah, she was awesome.
She did an amazing, I think it was her masters, I think, where she basically looked at the kaupapa of ikura, of the ao te atua, the menstrual cycle, and how that has been colonised, and did an amazing book for young wahine who are transitioning into their wahine-tanga, and because often we call it the mate wahine, or some sort of sickness, the womanly sickness, the mate wahine. And there's all this restriction, like you can't go swimming, you can't walk into the garden and walk in the garden. And we actually had that kaupapa as part of the documentary I did, Get Your Ass Off the Table, a half-caste guide to tikanga Māori. And Indigenous cultures around the world are that's when you're at your most powerful. That's why you're restricted, when you're in your moon.
Yeah.
But she did some great work. Yeah, she'd be fantastic to talk to her about that stuff. If she would want to come and talk to us blokes.
Us fellas.
I was joking, Aaron. I was just, sometimes you get a little bit frustrated working in local government and seeing sort of, there's a lot of frustration out there at the moment, because got governments who come in and they promise a lot, and they must know that they can't deliver on some of those big promises, like around child poverty and things like that. And sometimes I really do have empathy that it's a complex issue, incredibly complex, and there aren't any easy answers or silver bullets. But inevitably politicians go into their elections saying that they are going to make these big differences and these big policy shifts, and it's tough for Labour. Well, it's not tough, they have the majority, they don't have Winston as a handbrake, and yet the data is not fantastic. I mean, of course they've had COVID to deal with in the middle of all of this, but still. So I was suggesting you as Prime Minister Aaron, because you got a lot of whakaaro, my bro. How do we fix these things? Kia ora Māori maiden, tēnā koe e hoa. Yes, Holly.
I'm not sure what album this is from. I'm not sure if our things are working, but actually this is probably part of the what are they called? Fly My Pretties, which is out on Loop, and Loop has kindly allowed us and whitelisted both our Facebook and Twitch to be allowed to play the music without getting DMCA, or whatever it is, getting pinged and muted. So thanks very much, Luke.
Yeah, how's Auckland way there?
I think everyone's kind of starting to hit the bars and get back into restaurants and things like that. So life is sort of cautiously starting to reappear, and then but I think there's still a little bit of nervousness about kind of being too trigger happy and getting back into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but I think everyone's quite keen for the 15th is when the borders open. I know I'll be, I have to make a quick trip out of Auckland as soon as that happens, and then on the 16th, I think. So yeah, everyone's just kind of really chomping at the bit to get on with it.
To head out for summer.
Yeah. So I know that there's been, obviously R&B has moved to April. I think they've moved to Easter.
Yeah.
The base is still on as far as I'm aware. Will possibly that will. I think everything's going to be confirmed on Monday and sort of which way things are going to go. But at this stage, you can't. And yeah, such a tricky time, but. It's cool.
Kia ora Māori mate, and yeah, they've made the traffic light system now, so that's the. You guys on red in Auckland? You must be, eh?
Are we what? On red?
Yeah. Red
Yeah,
light.
we're red.
Red
Yeah,
light.
we're red light.
I actually had to went out for a friend of ours got a PhD, and we went out to go and celebrate that with her, and went to this Mexican place. It was the first time I had to get my passport open. Felt very exclusive.
Oh yes, yeah. So there's a
that
bit.
was odd,
yeah,
actually.
there's definitely
It was
having
odd.
to show your pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. But there's certainly apprehension out in these little back blocks with Aucklanders going to be flooding out. And, you know, you guys have been holding it down as well, so it's like, you guys have to come out to the beach, you got to come out and play, so.
Yeah. I mean, people are definitely feeling a bit more chipper now that the weather's improved, and it's just kind of there's a summer vibe out there. So. What are you going to do for the break, Dad?
Hello, Dad.
Hello, Dad.
We lost them again.
Those headphones not charged.
Yeah, they were.
He was singing a second ago. It feels like you can hear it.
You just
He
can't
might
hear
have,
us.
he might have selective hearing.
Father, can you hear me, Father?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Maybe we just have to turn ourselves up and I'll let you do that.
He's in the zone. That's right, Jeremiah. He's in the zone.
In the zone.
We're just rambling on.
Oh, this is Troy Kingy.
This
Big
is
Mighty
Troy
Man.
King. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is his.
Head of Te Te Reo.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not sure why the track's not coming up when it plays out. We just built a new streaming machine, which is what we're out on. So we haven't got everything.
It's mostly there,
configured
though.
yet.
It's actually been a
It's
little
mostly
bit less finicky than the last one.
I guess that's true.
Knock on wood. Yeah, no, you're right, Aaron. Communities need to come together and look after each other, my bro. That's, you know, what we need to do. You know, aha, ko wai. That's the thing with our communities. That's the thing I find actually sitting around the local government table is that, you know, we've got our sub-regional communities, and then you've got this larger communities, and even in a community like Whakatane, you have different cultures, different people. How do we all look after each other? How do we deal with those conflicts, even inside of Tūhoe, inside of Ruatoki? Actually, TUT's come up with a pretty, the tribals have been working together on a plan on the reality of COVID coming out to our communities. I've got to give them that. I think there's going to be a few people who aren't going to use the service because of the conflict that's going on, and they just, it's been quite hardcore. So I think that's a bit disappointing. But they have been working at using certain marae as places to store kai. Other marae that are kind of emergency hubs, and other marae that are set up as potential isolation sort of places. So that's all in preparation. We'll see how that goes.
You got a new hat there.
Yeah. So the bro from Wellington, when I was down there last, and Simon said, "Wow, shall we make another hat?" And he said, "Oh, why don't we do a summer hat?" So this is a really nice hat. Alright, beautiful.
Taiho, your sister.
Alright. It's a beautiful hat. Good summer hat. They like the depth of it inside because they'll keep the hot sun, and nice and light, and it's cool. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
It's good.
So that's a big shout out to Simon and the team from Hills Hat.
Yeah, from Hell's Hat all the way from Petone. Yeah, I was sharing with other people when I was at Petone used to be where all our whānau from Tūhoe, Ngāti Porou, from all around the motu actually, Tainui, in the prison works. And when all my tuakana was working, I was set Purewa, I was working in the over there. And in the days, there used to be a pub called Victoria. Actually, it was named after Queen Victoria, but they wouldn't let women in it. And so it's one of those days, and we decided that we call all our whānau, the women, all those stroppy ones. Hey, me haere tātou ki te pāpara kauta. Yeah. So, and I think I was doing that in between being at Parliament Grounds. So, one of the very few pubs around in the motu where they wouldn't allow women or wahine into a place that was supposed to be a gentleman bar. And so, named after Queen Victoria. Yeah, so there was probably there was another place there like that in Christchurch. So that was in Petone, just around the corner from where Hills Hat are. And in fact, Victoria, their building is still there today. And I think they had to make some change, allow women in the end. So that would have been in the 70s, 71, 72. I think by about 73 they decided to let women into the bar. Yeah. So,
there you go. Victoria Tavern.
Yeah, Victoria Tavern.
What is that? What's the material of the hat there? From here, it looks like it's is it like cane?
Yeah, actually, I've forgotten what. Maybe we can get our Bill Simon online and have a chat with us about hat.
Yeah, totally.
He's
got a fantastic
and
workshop.
He's actually got some good story about hat, about portrait. One of the very few industry that's still operating since 100 years ago. So they built the business. And interesting corridor about portrait. And I know from my old man's days, the Purewa, the Beku, they always wear hats. So if you look at some of the images and photographs of all our people back in the 30s or the 20th century, everybody wear hats. Seems to be the new trend. I like hat. And they started having, we just started wearing cowboy hats back in the days. And I remember I swapped a bag, a bucket of eggs for a plastic cowboy hat. One of the neighbors bought one from Pakatani. Yeah. So I did have several hats when I was young, as a kid.
So you had a plastic cowboy hat that you traded for
buckets of eggs. We had hundreds of chicken, but you got to go and look down through the whole farm and pick all the eggs. And my brother Jack and I used to have a bit of a competition because he's a big-time egg eater.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. And I remember I used to, in my older days, going down to China, we used to have competition, eat a dozen eggs in the morning for breakfast. But, you know, being vegan, no more eggs.
But were those cooked eggs or raw eggs?
Raw eggs, raw eggs.
Got it.
Yeah. We do eat raw eggs, swallow it.
Yeah.
Sounds like one of those young man competitions. Those, how many chilies can you eat? How many raw eggs can you eat? Did you text Simon?
Hey?
Or am I texting Simon? Oh no, I'm talking to Toy.
Oh no, you text Simon.
Painting looks awesome on stream.
Oh, here's this other painting too.
Oh, is that the one he's giving to the charity?
This one, yeah. This is a Fakari. It's a landscape around the Mauna talking to each other. There is an ancient story about the mountains and all the Mauna, Pūtawaki, Tauhara. They were having a race to who's going to get down to the foreshore before the sunrise. And so the ones that made it out there was Fakari, Motohora, and then you got Pūtawaki.
That wasn't the story I heard. We got told the story at school that Pūtawaki was heading out to Whakaari for a sleigh and got busted by his missus halfway. And that's when Tarawera blew her top and he got stuck in the middle because his kid was going, "Nah, Dad, what are you up to, bro?" He was like, "Go home back to your mother. Shut up." And then the sun came up and they both got stuck halfway.
Yeah, well, that's another version, and I guess that called it. So this one is based on that, and the effect of nature in memory of those who passed, and in the landscape, the whenua, ki ngā mauna. Yeah. This is to raise some funds. What are they raising funds for, Toy?
Yeah, so we're actually donating that piece to every year the whānau of those who tragically passed out at Whakaari 2 years ago. This week, it's Thursday just gone. They do a fundraiser to raise money for places like the Burns unit and those kinds of things, and memory and memorial for their whānau. And so we're donating this piece to that cause. They were going to be having the auction and dinner and everything on the 15th of December, but because of COVID and everything and the new traffic light system, they had moved it out to March. But we had gotten it prepared and ready. So that's the piece there. Yeah, kia ora Māori man, it is an awesome kaupapa. It's that was an event that really impacted this community. It's good to be part of that.
There was a launch down in Christchurch at Rehua Marae today. The launch of the book of the Hostel Boys. They went down 1950, 70 years ago, maybe 70 years ago, and there's a woman that put the story. I was one of those was interviewed about 3 or 4 years ago. So the book was launched out today. So mihi atu te ora whānau down in Christchurch, down 79 Springfield Road, back in the days. Nina Kay's father was there with me back in the days. So I just sent her a photo of her dad and her mum. She was part of the few Pākehā was in the kapahaka. So I got hold of the photos that she sent to me in the last few years, back in the days. Government policy for young rural Māori like us back in the days. Teach us how to
the trade training.
Interior decorator, builder, panel beating.
Hey, kia ora Jimmy James, Rotaction. Tēnā koe hoa. Welcome on Twitch. Mark Tetzlaff. It's a cool name, Tetzlaff. Where's that one from, bro? Where's that from, Mark? Yeah, no, Dad, all of these works in front of him. He does paint in oil and acrylic, but these works are in acrylic. And you asked which brand, and Attila, which I think this is the brand. Where's that autofocus? Do that autofocus? Come on.
You haven't got your product button on.
Oh, gotta press the product button for the product placement. These are just things you get from like the warehouse, stationery. and stuff, you know?
Stationery, yeah. It's not a bad product, those ones. And all the others, I know you use them.
Yeah, the new computer is actually an old computer too, Aaron. We just had to, the motherboard was playing up, so we had to get a new motherboard in. But of course, that motherboard was an older motherboard, and getting a newer motherboard to take the CPU wasn't going to work. It was, I think we had a second generation i7 in there, so we had to update that as well. So it was which of course then you had to get a new cooler to go with that, so blah, blah, blah. Hello, 3 components later, we've got an upgraded PC, which we're running the stream on, which is cool. It's running pretty stable, my bro, I've got to say.
Yeah, no, I might have to check the bit rates. I think Facebook is just going up and down. You know, it's bouncing a little bit. So the picture looks good though. And your lighting, the lights are looking pretty good too.
Yep, we've got a couple of new lights as well with deflector umbrellas. behind the scenes. You can see that with the deflector. That's the kind of the key light and Dad over there, and then we've got these other ones. You can see those other ones which show the sort of the color. You can see the blue and the purple over there, and slowly getting there with the little bits and pieces. It's quite cool. This is Troy again. Yeah, must be, eh?
So yeah.
It's cool.
No, that might be a problem actually because he's not technically on the league.
Oh, you haven't been booted yet.
Oh no, it's on that album. It's
Yeah.
the nudge. Yeah. No,
Oh,
so
the
I
nudge. I
think-
love the nudge. Nudge are dope. They big nudge pie or something. I think the album was.
When Teek's coming over, why did he?
When's who?
Teek.
Oh
Teek.
yeah, Tinks wants to catch up with you. Tinks wanted to hang with you in the new year. I think he's in lockdown with us at the moment. So yeah, but he's keen to spend some time and I don't know, do something creative.
Yeah.
That's all.
Hey, kia ora, Christy. Tēnā koe hoa, roa te wā. You still over Tauranga way, eh? Good to see you, Christy.
Do you know what's going on? Take me by the hand, sing, yes I do.
Well,
Hear me out, I sing a song. Can you be the one, sing, yes I do.
da-do. Ba, 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 ba. Woo.
Ooh, I need you next to me,
Ba, ba.
holding on to love, my dreams.
Come true.
Can you feel my energy, baby? Whip it like a glove, 'cause I need you. I feel you, baby. Don't you know? There's a storm no one knows. I got you close, baby. Keep you warm. It's the calm before the storm. Can you tell me everything? Just say, baby, yes I do. Can you wear that diamond ring?
Oh, oh,
Just say, baby,
baby,
yes I do.
This is the illustrious LAB, Lisa. So I'm just trying to get the songs coming up on screen as they play down.
Everybody.
Every time in love with open arms. Can I tell you one more time?
We got Thunder Punch over on Twitch.
My dreams come true.
Oh, kia ora, Thunder
Thunder
Punch.
Punch.
Baby, don't you know I'm the storm before the storm?
Protection 321.
You drive me
Build up.
crazy, and I want more. When you hold me on the floor, can you tell me everything? Just say, baby, yes I do. Can you wear the diamond ring? Oh,
When are you planning to come down, bro?
I'm actually going to be down for an extended period of time just after New Year's.
Okay.
Yep, between Northern Base, if that goes ahead.
On Sound Smash. Good luck with Northern Base, guys. Holy manoli. When are they making that call?
Sound Splash or Northern Base?
Northern Base.
Northern Base, I think they are on Monday. Careful then, because it's all dependent. They're currently in red, so it's a question of whether or not Northland moves out of red.
Yeah.
I wonder, Whānau, if out there for plans to go to festivals or anything like that? Is anyone not going to Rhythm and Vines when they thought they were going to be going? You're coming to Sound Splash, eh, Dad?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna dance, come for dance.
I know there's always funny videos of people on TikTok and stuff having taking footage of you dancing at a festival sometime over the summer.
Yeah. Well, I always like going to big events. I went to the first Sweetwater back in 1972, down in Narawala here.
Who was playing at that?
Black Sabbath.
Oh.
You heard of Black Sabbath?
Oh, yeah.
I think they're from Pomulan, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing. And yeah, I just bought a car. I bought a car for $100. And from the car yard in Otahuhu. And you go down to the event. And the car only just made it over on the Bombay Hills. Then I had to hitchhike. My $100 car. Yeah, so I hitchhiked and it was really amazing, and I think all the local Ngaruahi whānau were just standing like this, watching all the people taking their clothes off and, sort of kind of hippie days.
Taking their clothes off?
Yeah, taking their clothes off, it was hot, and, having a shower and stuff like that. So Te Ata Witire and I was one of those, so we took our clothes off and, moving around like that back in the days. Yeah, it was a really interesting period of time. So I went to the first one in 1972 and I went right up to the last one they had down not far from the airport. And that show went, and poor bugger that was...
Oh yeah, in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah, poor bugger that was running that, because he ended up going to jail.
Yeah. He didn't
back
pay
in
half
the
the
days.
artist.
But he's gone now. He's a mate of Te Mirina Ohaya. So, and after he had his experience, Te Mirina called him to help him out with the Parihaka events. And so I've been to that. But I always love back in the early 70s, 70, 71. We used to have outdoor music, and we had the Patla band with Steve from Ruatahuna.
Oh yes.
And
Steve Apiana?
Yeah, Steve Apiana. Yeah, and several other bands, a lot of folk singing back in the days. Yeah, and
Yeah, that's right. Ozzy Osbourne was Black Sabbath.
was it?
Yeah, he was Black Sabbath lead singer, Ozzy Osbourne, biting the head off bats and...
Yeah. Yeah, it was amazing. And I remember when they had their intro, was you can see this fire going way up in the hill. Like, I don't know how they managed to do that. And then boom, big sound. And I think so one of the first stage that they cost about about $1 million just for the sound system. It's an amazing sound system. You can just, back in the old days, the technology in those days was huge, big, and pumping it. Yeah.
I just got a beer delivered. Killed up. Yum.
Yeah, I think that last Sweetwater's, from memory, because I went to that as well, they got the date wrong for the long weekend.
Hey?
It was like Auckland anniversary weekend. Yeah. And then they actually miscalculated the date. It was the weekend after was the actual long weekend.
Because
Some shoddy planning. But that was a massive lineup because they had UB40,
UB40, yeah.
UB40 who actually came and did the gig, even though I think a lot of the bands didn't have their deposits paid. There was what's his name, Costello.
Elvis Costello.
Elvis Costello, he played.
He played. That's right. Yeah, it was a cool gig.
There was quite a few internationals that actually still played.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the numbers were low.
It was a good location, but all the local gangster came in and took over the gate. And, the bloke there lost a lot of money. Poor bugger. But Tony Sinclair and us, we had a selling merchandise, Tinoranga Tiratanga, the flags, t-shirts. Yeah, and we were promoting Tinoranga Tiratanga Mana Motuhake back in the days.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember. You had the stand there, didn't you?
Yeah.
Mark, yes, Soundsplash has moved from Raglan to Mystery Creek this year. Yes, they have. Predominantly it had to do with COVID and a bunch of factors really, but the main one was moving it to a place where it wasn't going to be such a massive impact on such a small community with regards to the virus, and it was also quite. It was highly likely it wouldn't happen this year, so it was a way of kind of making sure that the festival did go ahead. So yeah, they moved it out to Mystery Creek. So.
But even Ricardo used to run events at Raglan. That was really cool. And I think she got the Aboriginal band that came across. And,
Yiti Yindi or something.
Pardon?
Was it Yiti Yindi?
Yep. Yes, yeah.
Yindi.
Yitu Yindi.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that was good. And I used to go there. I remember going over there on the push bike from Ruatoki, on my 10-speed bike, give it a hand. Excuse me. And
How long did that take you on a 10-speed Ruatoki to Raglan?
hey?
How long did that take you, Ruatoki to Raglan on a 10-speed?
Oh, a couple of days.
Couple of days.
Yeah. The worst part is those hills down in Raglan, in between Patapata. Just past Patapata and up on the hills. Yeah, and
Those little details he puts in there to make it sound legit.
so I've done a few bike ride up to Auckland on a push bike. Tika Puru and I and Anthony Paipakana. And we did a campaign on the for the Māori Party.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so,
I remember you doing that bike ride. Yeah.
yeah. So we did a bike ride all the way up to through to Waikato. Then I think we went through the back roads, coming out Pukekohe. Yeah, it was a good, amazing ride. And yeah, good for the body, good for the mind, good for a campaign. Another way that you solidarity support, show your support. Yeah, I've been thinking about doing a bike ride, maybe down the South Island. I've got my bike parked up there, been like that for the last couple of years.
Oh yeah, I was supposed
It
to
hadn't
get one
been
of
written.
those
Got a Scotty.
one of those things you put your bike on, you can turn it into an exercise. I don't know, mate.
Simon's got guests, so he can't come on. But he said it looks good. So. Were you around, Dad, when Bob Marley came here?
As your mother, we were thinking of going over on my motorbike. I think a 350 Suzuki, but we got too stoned, so we didn't quite make it there.
We should get Mum on the show.
Eh? So we did our thing down at the river, down Uhini Matarua. Yeah, I wanted to go up for that to meet up with Bob Marley. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not biking. I'm not biking the regular rotation. Jimmy James. What happened, my bro? Actually, I always, I see those guys who you drive past them and they're biking up a hill in the middle of summer. It looks like real hard work.
Yeah.
I remember, was it Sally? Girl used to date? And she turned up and she was biking everywhere. But she actually had the pack.
She did do a Wellington to Auckland.
But she didn't have the weight settled on the bike. She turned up and she was wearing a pack on her back.
Right.
And cycling. Like, that is hard work right there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh poo.
But I went to see Joe Cocker though. Joe Cocker and Mad Dog Englishman over in the Western Springs. And I remember sitting on the fence, was high, and there would have been at least 100 people sort of listening there. It's a big job, and I remember flying down because I know those flip. When you go down and you roll without breaking your legs, and when you get in, you roll down the hill. So I did that, and but Joe Cocker was pretty out of it.
He was high.
He was out of it. And but the band that was playing there, which there was a Mad Dog Englishman, and the backup band was just hot ass. It was hot band, and so everybody wasn't too happy about Joe Cocker back in those days. And especially we spent a lot of money to go in there, which I didn't.
I remember actually you being interviewed about Sweetwaters in the 90s, and you were on the news and they were saying, who do you really keen to see? And your number one act that you wanted to see at Sweetwaters that year was Ian Sinclair.
Ian Sinclair?
Yeah, the journalist.
Oh yeah.
Guitarist.
Yeah.
And so I always thought that was funny because I've talked to him since then and go, you were like the number one pick for Dad at Sweetwaters, which was the Kiwi flamenco guitarist who kind of, like I always say, he's a guitarist who moonlights as a journalist.
Yeah.
Around because he is an amazing guitarist. But I thought that was pretty funny. And he's been, he's done stories about you and stuff as well.
I think there's a video footage of us playing at Sweetwaters. I think it was Joss. Was it Joss? You had video of that? I mean, I saw it like 20 years ago.
Well, there used to be music on television, and there are one channel television in Aotearoa then. And I remember in my early days in 60, 68, 69, going to the nightclubs in Christchurch. and there were some well-known singers back then. There was a couple of women. I'm not too sure whether they're still alive. But they're called the Chicks, two sisters, called the Chicks, and used to go to the nightclubs there. And I mean, people used to scream like hell, when those top singers used to appear on the stage and perform, and people just scream. I've never seen anything like it. And back in the days, we used to all dress up, and I used to dress up in my white shirt and the tie, in the suit, go to a nightclub. But many of us had no idea how to socialize, how to approach someone to have a dance. And I remember going, it was a bit of a challenge to each other. Can you go and ask the ladies for a dance, for a kani? So we used to go, you want to dance? Yeah, you want to dance? That kind of language. Of course, they say no.
I'm not.
So it was, but no kind of social behavior. Yeah. So it took me a bit of a while to how to socialize and be civilized. Yeah.
And look at you now,
Yeah, here we are.
all civilized in your top hat and apron.
And that's what I really liked when I was working on Jules FM, Radio Wātea, KFM, and going to all the nightclubs. And the good thing about going to the dance, I used to catch a cab to the nightclub because I really love my house music. I still love drum bass and stuff like that. Even now and then I have a bit of a debate with my generation. They still play those old Tui Teka, the reggae. Yeah, so I have introduced some of my generation to listen to different music. Yeah, music is a really interesting part of how we move and shift, because we don't sing at parties, The people just listen to sounds, and dance. Back in the days, when you go to a party, you always take a guitar, and a guitarist, and one who can play the guitar doesn't have to buy any drink, so you just, give him a few beers, and there we go.
I still see a few of those parties on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, especially all the kapahaka,
All the kapahaka. Whenever they have a party,
right,
and there's usually a big long table, loaded full of alcohol in somebody's garage, and someone's got a guitar.
Yeah,
and
all
they're
the
just going
kapahaka.
hard. All the kapahakas.
And they're the one that still maintain that
Totally.
that kawa, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Old Mark Tetzler says he misses you on George FM mornings.
Yeah, he used to be a crow. He used to listen to me on the. He used to come out on television. There was on the very few station that appeared on screen. What do you call it? Yeah. And he also like house music too. That came out to. Yeah. From Whakarewarewa. Yeah, I think it's Willie Jackson's father-in-law.
Huh? I don't know.
The Corolla.
Just so you know, Whānau, whenever I kind of rock in here and Dad's been here and he's painting without the cameras on, it is a house playlist on YouTube or Spotify that's playing. It's not this kind of lo-fi sort of
Chilled out, yeah.
fare that we play during the show because we have the license to play it. It's some pretty hardcore house that is going down.
What do the neighbours think?
Yeah, it's not that loud. Actually, it's an industrial area here, so there generally aren't any neighbours. And the people we share the building with are generally out on site. They're roofing folk.
So Dad, basically anyone who's watching the stream right now, they just need to rock up to you at the festival? Will you the dogs?
Hey?
If you're at the if you're at a festival, you'll be able to people will be able to just rock up and have a kani with you.
Yeah. You know, in the kani for me is a good rhythm. It's good for the soul. You know, and you know that kind of stuff. And I participated in another ritual was with the whānau over in Edmonton. It was dance around the fire dance, and we got the movements. And try and do that on the circle for a whole hour, man. It's amazing, really amazing that those are kind of rituals with the tanata whenua over there. And yeah.
Hey, kia ora Brian, kia ora from Wollongong. What?
Oh,
Good
yeah.
to have you here. And Damon Pierce said, put your Levi blue jeans and your nomads on. To you, Dad. And we got Marina Dixon saying her dad is a good guitarist and reckons he jumped on the train at Wellington and played his way into the Auckland Led Zeppelin concert back in the 70s. You always got to be careful with dads and their stories, eh? I didn't know. Well, like it happened.
David Lee Zeppelin. Kia ora, Too Slick. How are you, bro?
Oh, kia ora to you, Tawake. Tawake for your Merry Christmas. And many returns to you and your whānau tū e hoa. Over in St. Albans.
So, are we still happening during the Christmas period, or are we gonna?
Yeah, I guess we've got to talk whether they're going to take a hiatus, you know.
Yeah.
I remember that year that you dressed up as Santa Claus on Mike King's talk show that he had on TV for a season.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that? Should
Yeah.
we set you up as Hanakoko again?
Yeah, I think I have done that. I actually done some down at TV1 at the station. Yeah, I might have done a hana koko.
I mean,
I thought it was the other fella, Mike. You know, from Push Push.
No.
The DJ.
Mikey Havoc.
Mikey Havoc. It wasn't him.
No. Mike King had a
Talk show.
Yeah, like a David Letterman sort of, you know,
I remember.
with guests, and I think he had one season and on the Christmas.
Well, you'll
episode.
be down here, wait, around Christmas time.
He's coming after New Year's.
Oh, okay.
But there was one particular episode where the Dad dressed up as Hanakoko.
Yeah,
Santa,
no, that.
and he just sat there.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't even remember. Done so many things, I can't remember what part.
Hey, kia ora Taya, kia ora Kaz. Yeah, we're just hanging out down here in the Eastern Bay. Place to be over summer. I plan to spend many days at the beach in the waves. Hey, Sydney Bell, kia ora e wā. Kia ora, Sid. Are you talking to us, bro? We can't hear you.
Really? What about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. You were laughing at your own joke though, but we couldn't laugh
No, I
at
was just going. I was just wondering if you guys were going to put a hangi down at all.
We can do.
Yeah, you used to put hangis down at Christmas time.
Yeah, I
Want a
can
honey
do.
down? You want a honey?
Well,
Yeah, you can do one about
yeah. What are we talking?
that size. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to drink.
I'm gonna do a vegan one.
A vegan honey. Oh, yeah.
Vegan
how
honey.
did you do that?
I don't know. I haven't tried it, so I'm gonna check it out. Yeah.
Or you're going to do it separate? You want to have a totally separate one? You can do. Just dig 2 pits. Put separate rocks in. You just cook the vegetables in a separate one. Easy. Oh, yeah, no, that sounds good. Any excuse, bro. Choice. That'll be great. Are you allowed to come home yet? I don't know. Are you got your vaccine passport there, Cuz? I don't know. Are you going to get your COVID test? You're in Hamilton, aren't you, Taya? I don't know.
Actually, what we could do is we could live stream the vegan honey.
What's that?
Yeah, we could. The one thing that we have back home is crappy Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's true.
That's what sucks. Or we would. What sort of megabytes per second do you need for streaming? Because I get 20.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There's you have to faff around with the bitrate to make sure. We could be one camera. Oh no, we can make it work. Shit, Dad was doing. Oh, yeah, mind you, you're right. Where you are, it is pretty shitty.
Unless you do it on the 4G, do a 4G.
Yeah.
Like we did for that auction that time. We did that for my place where we had that 4G modem.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Going home for Christmas, too slick. Where's that, my bro? Where's home, cuz? Yeah, if you can get past the Iwi checkpoints.
Oh, have you got checkpoints going into Ratuki?
No.
Nope, not at the moment. No, I was sort of
Maybe partner up on me.
maybe to find out. O te Ruatoki, ko ai koe too slick? I never remember with these bloody Twitch handles.
Don't forget to get a permit.
Are you a
Yeah,
maka?
you don't need a permit for
Get in
honey
there.
if you use
Oh
gas.
yeah. That's
But
us.
if you put light in the fire, you would have to.
Oh, it depends, Aaron. Yeah, it depends on the time and if what the we got those.
Oh, you're getting me.
Oh, the size and and it depends on the. We got one of those heading into Ruatoki, one of those gauges.
Oh yeah.
So it depends on whether it's been raining or whatever, but quite often it gets to kind of extreme. I mean, last year we had actually a number of fires that people had seen, scrub fires, that some of the local teenagers had been,
The first time I see my back, I didn't realize I'd forgotten I got muko at the back on my back. Might need somebody to come and finish it off. Anybody out there keen to do that? Yeah.
Who started that, Dad? Who's that?
I think the running skipper. Or maybe. It could be Gordon.
Doesn't even know. That doesn't look like Gordon.
Yeah.
No, Gordon's your chest. Turn around. Oh, no, it's all good. But yeah, with the red. Because you did all
the
that
red
red.
on my head.
And
all
up
that.
into your neck.
And around here,
Yeah,
that's
all
Gordon.
That's all Gordon.
Yeah.
His daughter's doing muckle work now, eh?
Who?
His daughter, Gordon's daughter.
Aye. Aye, very good too. A very good artist.
Brian's asking if you remember Kevin Borich from Kevin Borich Express, still playing here in Aussie after 5 decades.
Oh, shit.
I don't think he does, Brian.
Yeah, I know. I've seen their name, but I just can't remember the face. Yeah. Yeah, I know their name, but I don't know where. Yeah, so I'm just working on this window of opportunity, the window glass, you know, and a lot of people spend a lot of time behind the glass, have a peep, see what's going on. Yeah, and they're just trying to build that around here.
Yeah, someone was just asking here, Dad, what inspires your art?
Well, I think that you know, after been doing painting for a little while, I mean, some people have been painting longer than I have, but I think it's a feeling. Sometimes you don't really know. You know, it's in you. And, you know, things that we do, and I feel art is a bit like that. And having a relationship with this, that's your tool. You know, just like the carver, you know, the brush, the feel, the movement, and also look at things. And, yeah, sometimes it's not about, sometimes it's not, doesn't make sense, I guess. Yeah, so I just push it, you know. I mean, the good thing about painting, if you don't like it, I can come here and paint over it again and start again, you know, and that's the good thing about art. Yeah, it's a little bit different doing koru, you know, and spar, and I don't want to do stuff. I'm not undermining the people that actually do it, and
It's not really your jam, though, is it?
yeah, and because they belong to somebody else, their creativity, they belong to the tipuna. Whereas it's just a copy. But a lot of people love that. People love to have some koru, 455 pattern, you know, and people still want to buy that kind of work. Yeah, so my work is, different again.
Yeah, thanks, Too Slick. Yep, I had a bit of a clean up, but it's kind of a classic. You know, got a bit excited at the barber, and it's always a bit of a worry when the barber says, "Oh, I've never done a cut like this before," and so you always know that you might have gone out on a limb.
You're rocking it, my bro.
This was hardcore mullet. It's quite funny. We went down to the beach, sort of the local beach, and there was a bunch of Māori boys there, and they all had the same haircut. It was really funny. They were hardcore mullet though. They were just like back of the head and then off the back.
Beautiful mullets, beautiful.
Any word from Nando?
Nando, yeah. No, he can't make it, but he really wants to come on and record him. He's really good at, he's kind of like you in terms of futurism and being optimistic and thinking that actually, there are, stop sort of thinking about the apocalypse and dystopian futures. There's actually still hope. I really like that about the bro. That there are still opportunities for us to turn this around. He does this great exercise that I've done with him. He's done in a group, and he sits there and gets everyone close their eyes, and he sort of plays this little drum and gets people to imagine, to fast forward in the future and to see the future that they would like to see. Because his whole thinking is that we are, this is the truth too, we are manifestors, we do create, we've created this, we're incredible as human beings, we've created all of these incredible things. Why can we not create a better future? And I remember the place that I found myself in was a forest community that had loads of technology that you couldn't see.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, what clothes are you wearing? What are the children doing? Where are people gathering? What are people doing for work? Those kinds of, as he's walking you through, and so you just start, your imagination goes, and imagination's a powerful thing, and that's where I ended up. And people ended up in different places. There were some people who went to some dark places, and pretty dystopian, but I thought it was a really nice exercise, because we have to start imagining a future that we want. We have the power to do that but you have to start with imagining that future. If you're imagining a dystopian future because you've lost hope, then
That's right.
that's what you're going to create.
Yeah.
So you've got to be very careful. His daddy wants to create a future where he can dance and be himself. Beautiful, amazing. That's your future this summer, my father.
Hey?
That's your future this summer. It sounds flash. Because that's the hope, that technology, that we can actually feed everybody, that we can. We can do it.
You know, it'd be really good is if we could talk to somebody about indigenous technologies, like, you know, like, you know, this. I guess it's very easy to kind of think, and I know that there are very, you know, good speakers in this area, but it would be fascinating to talk to them. I can't think of any right now.
Yeah, fala Tame Iti. The fella Tame Iti.
Lee?
Is I think Lee Tame Iti. That's played for Tame Iti's board.
Yeah, there's the bro. Oh, what's his name? Jeez, gone
Yep.
from my head. Up from Ngāti Whātua as well.
A Hawaiian, Ngāti Whātua,
Ngāti Whātua.
Nikora.
No, damn, gone from my head. Oh, hate that. Getting old. Hang on. Yeah, no, totally. Let's do that. Let's make our wish list for guests to speak to in 2022.
Yeah.
There's so many incredible people all over the place. Maybe we do need a producer.
Yeah.
So
That'd be quite good, actually.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think.
Because even who we were talking to from the director of that Indigenous Arts Festival, it was the Digital Arts Festival over in Canada.
Yeah.
She'd be great to talk to. Or one of her cohort. The incredible things they're doing.
Yeah, for sure. Hey Deb, what were you doing in the Rotorua on Wednesday? Why we couldn't?
Working with the professional, suppose the leadership thing. I'm part of the group called Whakaaro, and so all part of the training is we've been working with a group of young women, the Waikato Bay Plenty netball team.
Magic.
Yeah, great. You know, and all about how can we shift our brains, and it's all part of creating the conversation and about making those challenges. If we want to be a leader, if you're building a leader as a person, what kind of character or person that you think in your role as a taumata kōrero, or as a leadership. So and so our mate Ruben here from Te Teko, you went to school with him. Aramana, Ruben, he went to Edgecombe College with him. Ruben Araroa. And his sister MJ, she's a coach. She's a new coach for the Magic team. So yeah. So we did our first session with them on Tuesday, Wednesday. And then there's a continuation of their program that we still working around it.
And so who was the audience?
Sorry?
Who was the
No,
audience?
Magic was the audience. So
Yeah,
Magic,
Magic.
the netball team, were
The netball.
were the clients.
Yeah, so it's good money. And yeah, I got the young lady, Irana Mikhail.
Oh, we lost this mic. Hang on, Dad. We just lost your mic. Hang on. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so one of the some Asian-looking young woman, very tall, you know, Amazon type, and but she loves art, and she's been watching my artwork, but she's also a fan of teak, so she's keen to come across, and maybe the same time when the bro from teak, where is he? Is he in Tauranga or Auckland? Teak.
I think he's locked out in Auckland, isn't he?
So anyway, so
He's up here.
yeah, she's keen to come and hang out, and she paints.
Does she?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So we got 4 more days to go with them with the Magic team.
So Aaron's looking for a date.
I'm good, my brother. Thank you. I'll cheer out Aaron.
Sure, Aaron.
Sunny, yesterday my life was filled with rain. Sunny,
Yeah.
you smiled at me and eased my pain. Now the dark days are gone, now the bright days are here. My sunny one, joy is so sincere, sunny one so true. Ooh, sunny, I wanna thank you for the sunshine you gave. Sunny, I wanna thank you for the love you brought my way.
Got a Damon. Thanks for joining us, bro.
Gave to me
Enjoy the rest of your evening.
all in all.
Oh yeah, Too Slick on Twitch. Soundsplash is in Raglan. Actually, sorry. Soundsplash is usually in Raglan, but this year it's been moved to Mystery Creek so that they could put it on. So yeah, it's going to be just out of Hamilton. Aaron, I'm not sure when we come out of red light tomorrow. We'll find out whether not tomorrow, Monday. I think we kind of get some clarity on where we're going to be. I think that the border's opening on the 16th, is what I understand. But whether we're orange or red, so I'm not sure.
Stepped in, sunny one so true. I love you. Oh, Sonny, I wanna thank
Yeah,
you
the fellow who owns the chair, he's going to come and pick his chair up.
Was that Brian?
No, Bill Armai.
Bill Armai.
Sorry, Brian was one of the bidders, but he didn't get it. Oh wait, did Brian get something else?
No, Brian asked for a flag, which we still got here because people are in lockdown, so we haven't been able to finish the
Yeah. Just like you can see how Dad's enjoying it right now because it's so hot down there.
Yeah.
Classic. It was like beautiful here and it looks like it's going to rain.
we need some rain.
Yeah, I had some funny thought the other day around getting hold of Frank Panorama, PG. Yeah, I have some contact to Frank, and maybe to come and see what's happening to George Spate in Apollo George Nutter. Joe Nutter. He was the other character. Yeah. See what happens. Was an interesting period of time going to PG during that.
Didn't they turn the plane around on you? Like all of these holiday makers were going to Fiji, and then they found out you were on board, and they were like halfway, and they're like, "Nah, turn the plane around." And the whole cabin went boo.
Yeah, I was detained at the airport, and I went there twice. The second time I went across, and we arrived at Nandi Airport. We caught a van just with Tony Sinclair and the bro from Wanganui, and we made our way through there, which the things were pretty hot. and we asked the driver if they can find a place for us so we can park up and have a, and work out our strategy plan how we can get down to the compound. So anyway, so we arrived at this place. Unbeknownst to us, we just landed at the place there. There was a big riot. I think it was the DG television station. And they might have had a shootout or something happened during that time. Of course, all the media was there. And so when the van parked up there, and there was the house, the unit, we were supposed to go and check it out, if she was any room available. And so Tony said to me, look, and I turned around, TV New Zealand was there, and they saw me, they spotted my face.
Was it your cousin Timmy?
Oh yeah, Timmy came in, and that was another exercise with Timmy, and so and I hold my face and I managed to kind of snuck away, and so anyway we got ourselves because there was a curfew from 6 o'clock. The whole place just locked down. I mean literally locked down, so you can't move anywhere, and so we hadn't quite worked out how to get down to the compound. And so the next day, so we had a quick kite, and then we went out there trying to get a cab. And so every time we stop a cab, well, can we take us down to the compound? No. And then so and people went to the taxi driver wouldn't take us there, and that's where we wanted to meet. And so what we did was not to tell the taxi driver where we go, and we jump in. Where you going? Oh, down the road. And so we sat in there and then driving. Where you actually going? So he was already driving down in the compound. So we arrived at the place, and he dropped us off. We had to kind of walk another 100 meters to where actually where the gate was at the compound in Parliament. And then you see the guys there with their guns, with their Uzi. There was actually
there was actually a political coup. You went over in the middle of a political coup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so
for Radio Wate. I actually talked to Mike Hinton, and Mike Hinton. So I shared with Mike Hinton and others. I'm keen. I paid my way to go there. There was an $800 ticket to get across there. And so when we made up a little wee card, because on the way through they had the military. There was a roadblock, and of course I showed them my pass there for Radio Wate. And so my job was really to try and hook up with somebody to talk to Joe or to talk to George, and go on Sid Jackson's show. Sid Jackson had a show then. And so anyway, we arrived at the place, and so it was quite a long process. And so when I arrived there, I took my official title, Radio Wate, and I said, my name is Tame Iti. I'm from the Māori movement, Sinuranga Tiratanga. And so some of those guys already knew who I was, but they still had to process me. So that took about, the three of us. And so we finally made ourselves down to the compound. So you got to go right around, walk around, and then all of the villages were around in the compound. And so I finally got down to the place there. We spent about 3 or 4 days with George Spates, and did some interviews and so forth. But I also did a wheel and deal with the big boss of Te Karere down in Auckland. And they said, oh, can you do an interview? Well, we could give you some money. And I say, oh yeah. And of course I didn't want the money, and I was going to get the money and give a koha to the people down on the compound. And so anyway, Tinny was, there's a lot more to it, but I don't want to talk about that publicly. And but
cousin thing.
the cousin was a little bit hardcore, you know. And she didn't like the fact that because she came, hey, me haro mai koe hatau ki te iru me te kōra ki a koe me te pau whakaata. So and I go like this, all right, pai tēnā, $500 kio. Hey. Then you look at me with a, you know, with a question look. Who the hell do you think you are? He said the money not for me. The money goes to you know, the people in the compound. Yeah. So anyway, cut that one off. So I finally made my way there, and there's a really interesting conversation with George and Joe Nutter. Their whole kind, because the main quarter of the year, their real concern was really around the Indian population. And as you know, that all of the a lot of the government department actually run by the Indians, and immigration run by the Indians. I mean, where the power of the Fijian is actually in the military. Yeah. And so we end up in the compound, but I was also there when they had those two guys from the Red Cross. Those a couple of guys, they got murdered there during that period of time. And those couple of guys, so I had a really interesting quarter with their guy because they wouldn't let them in to where I was going to. So part of the Red Cross was observation, just to kind of see, making sure everything was okay. And so you got to understand that the whole operation was actually done by the SAS. Yeah, they're all military fellas, you know, and so I spent a bit of time, but we also was given the opportunity to meet up with the hostage. So they took us down, they locked up all the Fijian politicians in another building, and so they also locked up all the Indian, the Prime Minister, and all of those ones down below, where George and them was up at the top. Yeah, and so George's brother, what's his name? I can't remember his name. So he took him. But anyway, before I go there, an interesting thing, when I arrived there was a whole lot of other people there. There was a Chinese, there was all kinds of people in the background. So all the wheelers and dealers in the back. You know, because I was saying to George, who's those fellas over there? You know, and the Chinese were there too, and so I asked him the question about the guns, because there was a lot of Israeli firearms. They're usually little short, sort of kind of machine gun, or you know. And he said, "Oh, where'd you both get this?" So they quartered around that. In fact, way back in the early stage of Rambuka days, in the first coup, and Rambuka also had a plane, and his plane was, in fact, I met a fellow who used to be a CIA agent. He actually came over to the two-way embassy, and that fellow was at the camp with Rambuka in Waihuru. And he called this fellow, Reed was his name, and so he wanted $7 million. So can you give me $7 million before the first coup? And so anyway, he got a deal with the French government in Tahiti, and they will supply $7 million. I don't know whether this is public, but I'm telling you, that's what I know. So anyway, $7 million, and because Fiji was a hideout place for all the Israeli military, and so it was a haven. It's also a willing deal. And that part with France. France did a deal with Rambuka on the condition that Fiji will not go out publicly against France during the nuclear testing down in Mururoa. So that was the deal. So if you go back to back in those days there, Fiji kind of kept away from that. Yeah, because Rambuka did that. So he did 2 coups over there. Yeah, so...
Colonel Rambuka.
Yeah, so anyway, that was Rambuka. So Rambuka wasn't in the picture. I saw Rambuka there when I was over there. We was pushing weight. I saw him down there. There was not far from where we were staying. And,
He got locked up too, didn't he?
Eh?
Didn't he get locked up as well?
No, not Rambuka, but he was accused of something else. Yeah, and so, there's a lot of wheeling and dealing, all around there within the military. Yeah, and so anyway, so I made our way down to met up with the hostage, and all the Indian pilots were lying down, except the Prime Minister wouldn't come and have a chat with me. He kind of whakahihi and sat down in the corner there, and so that was okay. It was sweet. And so we were the first international rāwaho to be able to visit that period of time when during the coup with George Speight. And then they also escorted us to another place down in the compound and met up with all the Fijian politicians that was also got detained by George Speight and others. And guess what's the first thing they talked to me about? About rugby. Do you know Dr. Pat Hohepa? Because some of those fellows went to school with Pat Hohepa down at West Sydney College. In fact, a lot of those politicians back in those days went to school here. And they also went out to Waiuri to train by the New Zealand military. Yeah, and
these are the ones that are detained.
Yeah.
That are detained.
Yeah, they detained some, not only all the other politicians, but also all the other Fijian politicians were detained. So I spent a bit of time having a chat with them and having the talks. See if they're okay. And so we really just talk about back in the days when they were living here in Aotearoa. Yeah, so it was a really interesting period of time. And so the fella that deal with communication, so he operates all the computers in Fiji. So he was the one that kind of hooked me up with Seth Jackson down at the radio station, Radio Wātea, did a direct conversation with George Speight live. Yeah, and because I also interviewed him because I had this old tanga really in tape from Radio Wātea. Not all that, because when we had the other story I want to share with you, because on the second day, I think every day or every second day, George had a conversation with the international media. So there was American, everybody was there. They had their little flash, little gears, and me and my little Dana bloody tape. Yeah, and so you go in there, so you can walk from back to another block, and there the whole media was CNN, BBC, of course, Radio Wātea. Yeah, yeah. So that was me. So and but anyway, just before that, George was trying to get me to go there with him and walk in there, so I was a little bit skeptical about going down there and seeing my face and standing at the back like that. So Tony Sinclair and I had a bit of a chat and said, "Well, what do you reckon, bro?" Yeah, and so anyway, we both agreed, and so you can see some old image of me down there in the back with George in the front and Tony Sinclair, as I said, at the back there, and having this conversation. Yeah. So interesting quarter, but I think that the biggest concern was there was a big drive by the Prime Minister. I can't remember his name, to bring another 800,000 or some thousands of Indians from India to go across here and do some mahi, so they weren't too happy about that. And I mean, when a lot of the Indians in Mangares who were down at the market, because they know who I am, and there's a bit of a battle between the Indians from India than the Indians from PG. So there's a bit of a conflict between them. So they kind of think the Indians in PG, they're not Indians. Yeah. So they kind of support that idea about what's happening in PG, you know, and they went to supportive of their partner that living in PG. So all of that kind of quarter. Anyway, that's a short of my quarter about PG. But anyway, so I went there the second time, and so the second time I went there, and so all these confederation, the Whakaputanga, and there was a group of them through Mihinarani, you know, beautiful looking woman from Mandiapoto. So I had a chat with her in
Mihi Forbes.
Eh? Yeah, Forbes, you know, the old lady, you know, not the queen. Well, she's not a queen, but about my age. And so, so she was keen to send a group over there. But of course, the secret agent here, the SIS, been watching me, following me. And so I was having a conversation with Peter Sharple, who was in the Māori Party then. And then the Minister of Foreign Affairs during that period of time was Winston Peters. Yeah, and just trying to get something around there. But anyway, we arrived there in the middle of the night, and they look at the passport. There would have been a good about 10 or 12 of us, and then we had this little boy, Penny. He was a Penny boy. He's a tiny Penny's boy, and he would have been about 12 years old. And anyway, we got put aside there. At midnight, we were still there 6 o'clock the next day. Yeah, and we were still sitting there. And the only other person they got through was Bruce. I think Bruce used to be the MP at the north, up in the Taitokerau. Bruce Gregory. Yeah, so Bruce Gregory was sort of kind of part of the Whakaputanga in the Confederation. So kind of part of that. But the secret agent didn't have his name on the list. Yeah, and so anyway, so we kind of stayed there. And I had a phone number. That fella still worked for TV1. And I said to this young fella, Penny, can you go and make a phone call, just pretend you're Tame Iti, and you make a phone call down to TV1, you know, and tell them we are being detained down at the airport by the military, and by the military and the military and the immigration. And I think we were there for about 2 days. They wouldn't put me there and interrogate me for about 2 or 3 days. And just sitting there, wouldn't let me go to sleep, drinking kava. And they do a shift every 4 hours. And then, so one of those days, I got this boy, because he was allowed to go anywhere. He said, there's a phone upstairs that they'll let you in. Yeah, here's the phone, and make a phone call. And so he made a phone call. So the guy I was asked to talk to, he was actually in Suva. He was already there in PG, and so he, so he made himself across there, and I saw him coming down in the foyer, but the military wouldn't let him in. And so anyway, they were trying to get rid of me, out from the airport, and they said, Tame Iti, you gotta go on this plane. And they had a flight all the way to Hawaii. They said, you're gonna go to Hawaii, we're gonna send you to Hawaii. So I'm not going to Hawaii. Yes. And so I tied my shoes down to the table, and they said, well, you know, I'm tied up. And so I literally tied my shoes down to the table, and so I wouldn't move. So anyway, at the end of it, after 3 days, I end up on the plane. We end up on the plane and flew all the way down. It's halfway, I was boat to Hobart then. I was asleep. And then I felt my mate, hey, wake up. And so I wake up, and I was up. And I felt the plane was doing a U-turn 30,000 feet up in the air. He said, shit, I've never been in a plane like this. Yeah, and then the plane started to level. Shit, we're flying north. Then the captain made an announcement. This is the captain. Please remain on your seat and listen very carefully. We have just received a report from Silver to say that there have been a bomb being planted on the plane. And I go, holy hell. And I go and then the crew will go through to the, look down to all the cupboards up the top there and check to see if they find the bomb. And then I was sitting there and I thought, I better go for a mimi. So I went out for a mimi. So as I was walking back to my seat, and I felt everybody looking at me like that. The plane was full of Aussies. By then they were over it. Yeah, they were over it. And so anyway, so the hostess went and checked out. They couldn't find any bombs. So just imagine yourself sitting in the plane, thinking it's going to blow up any minute. So sitting there thinking, okay, it's going to be interesting, because if it's going to blow up, it's going to blow up. So you get through there, kind of, who cares? So, but I'm still here. So anyway, so we made our way down to the tarmac. So the plane landed. Then there was all these buses parked up down on the tarmac. So we had to slide down on one of those, jump in on one of those plastic balloons to come out, pop out, and you slide down. Yeah. So Tony and us was the last one there to go down. And so we went down there. Tame Iti, jump in the truck, in the military truck. And they said, no. I'm doing my block. He said, well, I'm still on the international grounds. Making things up as I was talking to them. And said, I'm not going with you. Why are you taking me? Why am I not being taken down on the, on the bus with everybody else? He said, Tame Iti, the plane going to blow up any minute. You better go there now. So anyway, I thought, oh shit, they are serious about these bloody bomb in the plane. So I jumped in the truck, in the back of the truck, hold on there. And the truck stopped down not very far away from the aeroplane. So we all went on the ground, and so waiting for the bomb, for the plane to blow up. And they came down there. Yeah, we were there a good half an hour, no bomb. So they took me to another place, and this other, high-ranking officer came in. Somebody seeing you carrying your bag with a bomb in it. And I go, what? Are you serious? Why would I want to do stuff like that? So that was a whole nother story. So anyway, they had to strip the plane, pull everything out. So they took me back to the international airport with all the Aussie with. So just imagine walking there, and then all the Aussies there, they want to have a fight with me. Yeah, they want to have a fight, they want to have a scrap. But lucky I had the bodyguard there. So they had SLR, COH, and shoot them. That was another story. So, So that's a story about that experience, about being in a plane and being accused of all sorts of other things. Yeah, but...
Who was it that called in saying that you had the bomb? Was it George Spate?
Well, I can tell you now, because that happened back in there. So apparently that because everybody knew there was at the airport, they kind of called me the king, Tame Iti the king. So he's going to come and do something for us, and so. The compound heard about me being detained by the military because there was a bit of a conflict between the military themselves. Yeah, the military outside and the military inside in the compound. So they sent the SAS fellas there. They were going to come, and lucky I was on the plane. Yeah, they were going to come in there and do a shootout there down at the airport with the SAS, and. But when the SAS fellas arrived down at the airport, I was already on the plane halfway up to Auckland. They were the one that made the phone call.
I see.
Yeah, they were the one that made the phone call. and to get us back down back to PG. That's how we end up back in the PG. There were no bombs here in the plane. It was just a hoax.
Right.
Yeah.
So Dad, look on the screen because there's the photos.
Hey. Oh yeah. That's Tony at the back, and that's Felipe there in the middle there. And that was that meeting I was telling you about. And he was like, "Tommy, can you come there? Just stand over there." Yeah, and he was talking to the international media. Yeah, back then. Yeah, and Tony there. Tony was sort of my legal representative. He's the lawyer, and yeah, so he did. He was the one that sent emails across to Helen Clark, and having a conversation with Helen Clark. I was trying to get Helen Clark to participate. They said, "No way, no way. We're gonna have." They talk to holding hostages. So she was quite adamant. She didn't want to have a chat with me. And yeah. So anyway, I went to my last trip. Yeah, I went to my last trip with John Murphy. Yeah, and then and that's when Frank Banarama did a hit on George Payton. Yeah, killed some guys during that period of time, and so I got a message. Somebody came and knocked on the door where I was staying in Mangere. And I remember when I was staying in Mangere, and the woman the partner I was staying there, told me, "There's some police want to talk to you." So I poked my head out there. There was a big kind of guys there standing there. Yeah, they was working actually with a group there. There was a chairman was John Dummehead, Otis. I think the name of the group was Otis. They are a group of mercenaries, so what they call them corporate security. And they did a job to there was the fellow with their palm oil in Chinese palm thing was living in Malaya. These guys, when they did a hit, and he was holding hostage, and they got the guy out there, and but they never got paid. But these guys came to say, I won't mention their name, but they arrived to my doorstep. They will offer $6 million, yeah, to go around and have a chat, because they get one fellow out there who was a hostage inside in the compound. And oh yeah, so they kind of have a chat. There are two parts there. We can do a hard out one or a soft approach. And I said, well, don't go to hard out, because those fellas are waiting for mad motherfuckers like you. You know, you better take your body bags. Yeah. And they say, well, they wanted to do a deal this year. They give some money to George. And I said, well, I don't think George is interested in money. It's not about money. It's a bit more than money. But I'll go and have a chat, to release this fella. But nobody followed me, but I want a deposit, I gave them my figure. And so the day I was ready to fly across, the day I was ready to fly across there, Frank Banarama did a hit on him, and that's when George Payton was still locked up today, I think. And but I went after that. I went across there, and I hired a plane in Nandi Airport to fly across there. That took me about 4 or 5 hours and managed to catch up. Then the SAS was the government under the leadership of Frank Banarama. And the reason I went there was a group of business people from Australia and New Zealand who invested a lot of money in hotel. So they picked me to go and do the job, to have this conversation. And maybe they can have a conversation between the government, and then Winston Peter was a Minister of Foreign Affairs then under Helen Clark. And so, so then I was talking to Peter Sharple. Through Peter Sharple, I having this conversation with so that was a really interesting trip. So I made my way there down to found Frank Bainarama in a secret location, and yeah, they escorted me there. So yeah, so that's another story.
Quite a story. And you've got the photos. There you are.
Oh yeah, there's a photos of it. Yeah.
John Murphy said, Navy headquarters, remember the big table?
Oh yeah. John and I went across. Yeah. So we got a first class seat, the broke paper, and so we went around there, but it was through John. Yeah, John and I had an interesting trip there. We made our safety. I think we ended up at the naval base where the SAS boys were. Yeah, should do a movie on it.
I was just enjoying the lounge music while he was telling that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm actually still keen to go around and check out on George. And
Yeah, he's still locked away. He's been, how long he's been locked up? You're talking 20 years?
20 years now. Yeah, 20 years now.
Because what was his role before he did the coup?
Well,
'Cause he wasn't a military man, was he?
No, he wasn't in the military. I think his brother was Frank Spate, but they were mainly based in Australia. They were part of a company. And in forestry, he was a bit of a hustler, wheeler and dealer. And but the whole thing was actually George was just the face. The whole thing was actually run by the military itself. Yeah. So it was a military operation. So it wasn't an individual like George, kind of doing his own thing.
Well, he took the
So
individual hit.
Yeah. So he took the hit. Yeah, he really got done over. But I'm keen to go around there because I met up with George. George had a couple of sisters there with a niece. Because every day the sister come in and do the powder, makeup, face makeup, before he go and talk to the international media. And they were very clear why they were there for, what they intended to do, what they're planning to do. Because he did say to me, Tommy, you should do something like this. No. I'll keep away from that. Yeah, I'm actually a reporter for Radio Wātea. Yeah. So there is a conversation, and probably in the documentation of Radio Wātea, but that conversation went through. So the idea we had then, so rather than us making our assessment of what's happening in Fiji, why don't you just talk directly to George? It's George and Joe Nutter was the one. So Radio Wātea was the only one that actually done that. So all the other mainstream media was telling their own story and having their own twist to it. So that's a short of it.
Back in your journalism days.
Yeah, that's back in my journalist days, Radio Wātea. I mean, I had no idea about radio. Yeah, so the Queen, she was the one who asked me to work there, come and work for us for Radio Wātea.
June Jackson, Willie's mum.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, June Jackson. Yes, Willie's mum. She's an amazing woman. Back in the day.
Amazing woman.
She had a lot of clout. Had a lot of mana, and she was a doer. In urban situation, urban Māori.
She tells the story where she, with some pride, where she took a crowbar, because she used to do the books for the Black Power apparently too back in the day.
Yeah.
When she was a cleaner, but then became this woman on the parole board for 20-something years, and she tells a story where there was Anzac Wallace. There's a bit of raru over Ngā Whare Wātea, and Anzac Wallace, he was the fellow who played in Utu.
Yes.
Yeah. So she was like, oh, okay, hello, meet my crowbar. She took
Yeah. Oh, John, I just see John's text here. Yeah, Tuhoe Lambert.
Took you to the airport. Hey, I think we've reached our limit. I'll end on on a high on their anecdote of their trip to Fiji. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Maya Duck turned up over on Twitch. And everybody that's joined in for our
Nā mi nui kia koutou e hōna o te rāhoroi, and see what's going to happen on the 15th, and yeah, work through it. So take care of yourself, and